Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to Chatting with Charles. I am absolutely thrilled this morning because I've got Ryan of OhYouAteOne2 on with me.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well for, what is it, Sunday today? Sunday morning? Yeah.
It is Sunday. It is at 11 in the morning in my time, and it's Christmas Eve, and so there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I thought I had 10 more minutes to drink my coffee, but...
Well, I lied. I do that.
Well, I'm excited to be here, Charles. Thanks for having me today.
No, I am super thrilled you have come on, and so thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So we got some folks in the chat. And first in the chat was R2, R3 Locking Nut.
R2.
So you welcome in. And both Martin of L&M Guitar Corner and Herb of Fireside Studios had made their way in, let us know that they support us, will watch us on replay, but they had other things and couldn't be here. So we appreciate you guys.
Well, they were saying, that OhYouAteOne2 guy, we're not going to watch that.
Well, you are an acquired taste.
Yeah, well, what can I say?
And we got Gear Junkie 35 that came in with Merry Christmas Tone Chasers. We got Paul McNeary and 5.4% of his cats. And Trev. Look at Trev.
What's up, Trev?
Trev is in already. All right, good morning. Yeah, and I think he might be a little upset with me because we went early. He says 9:10. Well, hold on. Because he knows it starts at 11. Yep,
just get you an extra large cup of coffee, Trev, and you'll be okay.
That's true. That is true. And my buddy from Texas, Ferd Burfel.
Ferd, what's up, man?
And we got Stephen Monchmaselli in the chat. We got Wayne McConnell. We have CC.
Right on.
Welcome in. That's a new one in my chat. So welcome in.
Yeah, CC's been a regular over in my channel. Cool dude. Really cool dude.
Appreciate that. And we got BC Rich 581.
What's up?
All right. And Keith H has made his way in. So good morning to you, Keith. And we got our buddy Dennis Ellis has made his way in.
What's up, Dennis?
BHVR, Bruce. And Guitar Man 45.
Oh, what's going on, man?
All right. And I think that catches us up with the chat there. So
cool.
We welcome folks in. Oh, see, you're pulling in the big names now.
So we got
because no one other than Charles Green has just entered the chat.
Mr. Charles Green, one of the rockinest dudes on the YouTubes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to end up finishing that guitar for that guy.
Would Charles mind if you gave us a sneak peek of that thing today?
Oh yes, we are soaring this week.
You signed NDAs and all.
Yeah, there are contracts involved in big burly people that break things if things get
You wondering who those big dudes are at the end of your driveway there, huh?
That's right. Yeah, they're on patrol.
We're all looking forward to seeing that one. That's going to be a good one.
And Jimmy Biders made his way in. Good morning,
Jimmy. What's up?
So Ryan, I am super thrilled to come on. You're one of the most interesting guys on YouTube.
Well, okay. I appreciate that. I'm just a regular dude.
You're a regular dude, but you've got this killer attitude. You got a killer voice, and you can play like nobody else. That's like fantastic.
I appreciate it. I just fake it till I make it, Charles.
Better than I am.
Well, I appreciate it.
But so it gets me to wondering, and here's a question I ask everybody, and you know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how does your guitar journey start? What is the path you take?
Well, for me, it goes back to when I was a little kid. My oldest brother, he's about 15 years older than me. He played guitar. So as far as I can remember, as a little kid, there was an electric guitar. And when he would plug that thing and play it, or I would see somebody play an electric guitar, I just thought that was the coolest thing. We're talking, 4 years old. And so I always thought that it was just so cool that you could get that sound out of something plugged into an electrical, amp with a speaker. So that kind of started my curiosity for it. And with him, playing guitar, there were always guitar magazines around and this and that. And I was always looking at these guitar magazines and I said, one day. So finally, my first guitar was a Epiphone Strat copy. and it was a piece of junk, But the first thing that I tried to do on it was figure out how, Eddie did eruption, the little tapping part. So I would have my pick, and I figured out that I could, hit the strings real fast and I could get a similar noise to it, and it just started from there. So, first guitar was that Gibson Epiphone. From there, I think I graduated to a some kind of PV Tracer or something like that, and it was always, huge Van Halen fan. In case you can't tell, Van Halen shirt, the Van Halen rig back there. So Van Halen was always, or Eddie Van Halen was always a big influence on the type of guitar that I wanted, because he was getting that sound that I thought was the coolest. So I always kind of tried to, when the Kramers were out, he was endorsing Kramer. I was like, ooh, man, a guitar that he's actually played, and, I can go and get kind of the same thing. So I was always looking at those, and I could never afford, the Kramer. So I was always getting little lower level guitars, and just trying to get as close as I could. And so from there, just kind of progressed into a little better guitar. I had a Charvel, had EMGs in it with a Kaler. The Kaler was not as nice as the Floyd, but just progressed from there and just continued to get better guitars as I went on, and got to the point where I just can't stop buying them. So that's kind of who I am now. I've always kind of really, really enjoyed the tone that Eddie got on Live Without a Net. Live Without a Net, I think, really redirected my life, basically, because it was always that search for tone and for guitars that I could try to do that with. A lot of folks know that I do the TransTrem Thursday, the L2T, and that was a guitar that's like, that was unobtainium to me. And, as I got a little older and could finally afford to get one, it was like, that's the only guitar that you can make those same kind of sounds that he was doing on Live Without a Net for those songs. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really kind of directed, my whole, what I search for in guitars, what kind of tone I'm looking for. And yeah, so here we are today. I started up my channel, OhYouAteOne2, on YouTube, as you can see my right there. So a little self-promotion here. We're 4 subs away from 1,500. So if anybody's not subbed to my channel, please go over and give me a like and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff.
And that brings in the chat for everybody there. If you
awesome.
want to go ahead and grab that.
Thank you. But yeah, that's kind of my guitar journey, is just kind of chasing that. And then as I've gotten a little older, I thought that a guitar had to have a Floyd on it, because that's what Eddie played. Excuse me. But as I've gotten a little older, I've appreciated, more of the Les Pauls and, other style guitars, and, getting into different, understanding how, a fixed bridge gives you a different tone as opposed to a Floyd guitar. And yeah, so kind of when I find one that I like, grab it, and they're all piled up over there. So
yeah, they're kind of like potato chips, right? Once you get started,
you can't just have one.
You can't just have one.
Yep, for sure.
And it's one of those things when, if you're not in it, you don't really get it, right? You're like, okay, you got a guitar. Why do you need another one?
Yeah.
And it's a question my wife is asking me all the time. Even with doing it, she's like, well, you've got all those. Why do you need another one? It's just because this one does something different. And it makes me feel different, and it makes me play different. And I think people on the outside, they don't get it because they're not there. But it's no different than if you're into collecting anything else, like whether it be, with women, dishes, right? Or shoes, or whatever the case may be. Right? You can't just have one pair.
That old pair, I've had those forever.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? Oh, that's a friend's. I'm just doing a setup on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But Charles, one of the things that, I as far as guitars, one of the things that kind of grabbed me when I saw your channel, I think I found you from Ben Coombs' channel. I was watching that, and I saw something about a fabric topped telly. And when I saw that, I was like, well, that's really cool because I'm into, the graphics on guitars as well. And I
Mhm.
had one commissioned several years ago
Oh, that is
to have
beautiful.
that done.
Yeah.
So when I saw your stuff, it reminded me of, hey, that's real similar to kind of what I did. This one's actually hand painted, but it certainly, helped me appreciate what you're doing with your channel and your guitars that you fabric top. I think those are really, really cool. You've got some really cool stuff there.
And I really appreciate that. And I remember the first time you showed this one on your channel,
Hmm.
and my jaw just dropped.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It.
And
I think I had this done. Oh, it must have been 2010, somewhere around there.
mhm.
And there was actually a prototype that we did. I put one together from parts, and it had a bird's eye maple neck on it. And I used a Kramer Focus body, and it was beautiful art, but it didn't play as well as I would like. So I actually sold it. So there's another one of these floating out there, and that guitar was focus or was uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Featured
uh,
on the Van Halen news desk.
uh,
So there were pictures of the guitar years ago. So I was kind of proud of that. But very, very cool what you're doing there with the fabric top. I think that's awesome. I'm gonna
you are very kind.
eventually have to get a guitar to you so that you can do something for me.
It would be my pleasure. It really
Awesome.
would be.
Awesome.
We've got a couple folks that have wandered in. We got Ryan Hall, our music in law.
Ryan Hall, what's up?
And we've got the guy that brought us together, Ben Coombs, in the chat, who has
Right
been
on,
kind of
Ben.
the clearinghouse of most of us in the community of bringing us together. And Hip Metalworks has made his way in as well.
What's up, Ken?
So welcome in, everybody. So, you kind of talked about that journey a little bit. One of the things that recently kind of come to my attention, where I'm starting to get to the point where I can get a little bit nicer guitars than what I've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben teases me and he says, oh, you finally get a big boy guitar.
Right.
And so it leads me to my next new question. Okay, so what you consider your first big boy guitar?
First big boy guitar, I think, was when the Ernie Ball Music Man EVH model came out. I wanted one of those so bad, but at the time, I couldn't afford one. So then Eddie moved over to Peavey with the Wolfgangs, and I was finally able to get one of those. So it was which I don't have anymore, unfortunately. It was I think they called it a cherry burst or something like that. It was flame top, the arch top and all that good stuff. So that was probably my first big boy guitar. And after getting a taste of how well and how easy that thing played, it kind of directed me towards, okay, a little nicer guitar is a little easier to play. The sound to me is a little bit better. So it was just kind of a progression from there. Is okay, I got to keep looking at these, better guitars. Now, I'm not the greatest guitar player. So, if you have a cheaper guitar and an excellent guitar player, you can't tell the difference. They can handle that thing. But my thought has always been, if you can get something that plays a little nicer and it makes it easier for an intermediate player to play, why not? So that's kind of been my outlook on it. And when it doesn't have to be, a $3,000 guitar. I've got a Kramer Illusionist graphic guitar. It's the 1984 model, and I bought it used for $700, and that thing plays fantastic. A proper setup on a less expensive guitar can make it feel, like a $3,000 guitar. But just the ease of playability, on a little higher end guitar is what I find kind of draws me to it. And, I just like to have, guitars that look nice, play nice, and, going to hold their value,
Well, I think there's a lot to be said for learning how to set up your own guitars, right? Because you can take a guitar that doesn't play really well and make it play well. And so, it really is about that. It's about having that guitar that The look of it inspires you. It sounds, you can dial in the tone you want to dial in,
Right.
and it's easy to play, and it inspires you to play something.
Yep, for sure. There was a guitar that I had put together myself.
You gotta love that.
Exactly, Ben. Exactly. All the help you can get. If you can make it easier on yourself, why not? Let me grab this one real quick.
All right.
A lot of folks on my channel have seen this one. Let me zoom over here. So this is a guitar that I had put together, and the same artist that painted this did the striping and all this for me. But I put this together from parts, and it's got a real German Floyd rose on it. I think this is a Seymour Duncan EVH 78 that's in here. I really honestly don't remember, but it's a parts neck, that put it all together. And this was probably back 2007 or 8 that I did this guitar. And it had regular nickel frets in it. And I just slapped it together and I played it, up until about, what was it, a month and a half ago. And it had never really had a proper setup. So I took it down and I had it refretted with stainless steel frets, and I had a professional setup done on it. And oh my goodness, this thing plays like a 3,000 guitar now. And back then with parts and everything, I may have $1,000 in this guitar. So, it doesn't have to be a $4,000 guitar to play, but you pick this thing up, or I do anyway, and it inspires me. It feels great, sounds great. So, whatever gets your juices flowing and gets you going.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. You have to be inspired. And Guitar Man 45 Bo says, okay, so what's considered a big boy guitar? And that's, it really is kind of the question, right? It's that, it's a guitar of really good quality, a guitar of good quality, right? Something that isn't that beginner or necessarily intermediate guitar.
Yep.
For me, it was my Guild and my Grudge, right? And so, but I think maybe a big boy, what your big boy guitar is really different for each person, right?
Right now, my ultimate big boy guitars are, of course, the Steinberger GL2T. That, it's a very specialized guitar with what's on it. It's made of a special material. Has the TransTrem on it, which is, like I said, one of those unobtainium kind of things. And that was one that I had to have. And when I bought that was my, ultimate big boy guitar. But like I said, I've kind of gotten a taste for, the other, Gibson Les Pauls and all that kind of thing. So my other big boy guitar was my Gibson. I can grab that.
All right. So while we wait for that, Dennis Ellis was saying, has anyone seen the Line 6 guitar? Each saddle is a pickup. A knob that kind of does the TransTrem in drop tunes and other tuning, and no wiggle stick. Have you heard of this?
There's a Variac guitar that they have. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Those have been out.
Variac, yeah.
Variac, yeah. So you could turn a knob and you would have different tunings. So you could be tuned to D standard or, any kind of crazy tuning that you put in there. And it wouldn't actually, retune your guitar. It would just digitally convert it to that tuning.
I want to welcome in a couple people that have come on in. We've got Rico B that has made his way in. We have Eddie Fay that has made his way in.
What's up?
Yeah, Dave Chase has made his way in as well. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming on in. All right, so you have a Les Paul you want to show us, right?
Yeah, this is Claudia, and this was I got the itch to get a Les Paul, and I was on the search for actually many years. I'd have a Les Paul custom that would come into a local shop, and this was a guitar that I knew that I was not going to order online. I had to find something local. I had to play it. I had to make sure that, it was what I wanted. But this is a 1959 VOS, Dirty Lemon is what they call it. It is a custom shop guitar.
Oh, very nice. Yep.
And this is one of the best playing, best sounding guitars that I've ever picked up. And
what I love about that is the way the burst is so subtle. You know, on the very outsides, it's almost like it's not even there.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
and over time, it may fade a little bit because my understanding is they do a nitro finish on these. So if I were to put this out in the sun, it probably would lighten up a little bit. But when I saw this, actually, local guy at a music store here, he sent me a picture of this. He knew I was looking, and he's like, "Hey, you got to come check this thing out." I walked in, and it's hanging on the rack behind their counter, and I saw it. I was like, "Oh my God." Picked it up, played it, like, oh man, I got to have that thing. So came back the next day and picked it up. Just the different views that you get on the top, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, and you're right, and it's because you've got that you have that why can't I come up with the word? But there's a lot going on that top, and as you move it, you get a different look every time you change the angle.
Yeah, it's definitely,
because that flame is very nice.
The sequoiancy or something, is that the word?
I have no idea what the right word is, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah. I love how, like on the arch right here, it kind of comes where you can kind of see.
Oh yeah,
right on those sides, so it kind of outlines the arch of the guitar.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So this is my second big boy guitar right here. But obviously, I've got other, Wolfgangs and USA models and stuff like that. But to me, when you get a guitar out of the box, it just feels perfect and plays. Why not? Why not do it?
Yeah, I want to also welcome in. Who did I miss? I know I missed Rico B. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Welcome in.
What's up, Rico?
So when you started your YouTube channel, let's kind of take a turn in this direction. When you started your YouTube channel, what did you want to accomplish with it?
I wanted to kind of just share the joy that I get when I crank up that rig and, play a chord, and just the feeling of that sound, that tone. And, I wanted to be part of a community. And one of the main things that I wanted to do was, one, raise awareness of what the Steinberger TransTrem can do. And I think that we've done that some, we've educated some, and we've got some videos that show how the thing works and this and that. So that was because there was nothing on YouTube. So I kind of wanted to share that information. And then two, for like my Sundays, I do the chat and jam where the community is invited to come on to the show. I wanted to have something where anybody that wanted to come on, show off their new gear, play some riffs with us, jam out, to have a platform for people to do that, because I was watching some YouTube shows and I was like, yeah, I've got one of those, I've got that. And I was like, oh, I wish I could, show this and talk about my tone and this and that. But, there was no kind of platform like that. So I was like, this might be a new idea, something that people like and enjoy. And so far, people have been enjoying it. And I'm just trying to, build up a close community, really.
Well, and that's what I really love about your channel is that, it's, you have you have your regulars, right? It's, we have you, R2, R3, we have Trev coming on and playing. Sometimes we have John DeShane. You have your whole crew there, and it's all, so we can always tune in for a live jam, right? Yep. And it's always there. But you do bring in some characters with you, right?
Yeah. Always.
It's always a great show when Quentin stops by. Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
And but it's a show where there's some actual playing going on, because a lot of us are, like for me, my show's really all about talking about stuff and showing stuff and doing that. And I don't I'm still relatively new in my playing and not anywhere near that. So no one would want to listen to me play for an hour.
You'd
Right.
be surprised, Charles. You'd be surprised. And that's one thing, with our show is that it doesn't matter the skill level. It's just all about the joy that it brings you when you play guitar. So you want to come on, you're a beginner, you got a couple of riffs that you want to play and kind of show off your learning process. That's what we're all about. We're open to anybody that wants to come in and jam. And yeah, it's a good time. I've met a lot of great people through the channel. We've got Jimmy Biter in the chat. He jumps in pretty regularly. Miles from Australia, Six Fingered Assault. Some other folks that jump in regular. We've had Herb Fireside Studio jump in with us. Blue Mox has jumped in and jammed. And yeah, open invitation. Anybody that wants to come over and jump in. I usually have an email link, and people can send me an email, and I'll send them a link. They can jump in, and we can jam. Or even if you just want to show off guitars, we're going to have Mr. BHB Jr. Bruce on today. We're on later at 5 Eastern, so he'll be on showing off some new Guitar Day stuff. So yeah, it's just all about community, just all about the smiles, all about having fun, and that's what it's all about.
And that's definitely going to be a treat, because Bruce has some nice stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his guitars already.
Make sure you folks tune in. Make sure that you do tune in.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just a few subs away from 1,500. We've been officially at the end of December. It'll be right at 1 year that we've done the channel. So
wow,
I've been pleased with the response that we've gotten, the growth, and we're looking forward to growing some more. And I've got an announcement today that everybody might want to tune in and listen to. We might be doing a pretty cool little giveaway. So,
wow. So if you have not thought about making your way over to Ryan's show today, please make sure you do, because Bruce has some great stuff to show off, and if there's a giveaway involved, nice way to get yourself another Christmas present.
Well, announcement for a giveaway. So.
Oh, okay. Well, but it's the promise of something. It's going to happen. It's just delayed gratification.
Absolutely. Well, Charles, I'm gonna flip the script a little bit. I'm gonna ask you, how you got started in guitars and where your interest of the fabric topping came from. I've always been curious about that.
Well, I have always been into music my whole life, and and listen to all this stuff. I was that kid in school where they gave me an instrument and a fingering chart, and I learned to play it. And and I was never really good musician, but I was a good technical player. I could learn how to play it. I could play what you needed me to play. And so I always wanted to play guitar. And so we got into middle school, and we had a guitar class for like 6 weeks. Like music class is now to be guitar class. And you imagine 30 kids in a room with 15 guitars, and you're sharing, like, okay, they teach you three chords, one song, and you're fighting with the other person to get it. And so that wasn't ideal.
Yep. It probably sounds better in a Guitar Center than it did in that classroom.
Oh, yes. And so that kind of didn't do it. And then I had asked my parents for a guitar, and one Christmas they did, and I got a Les Paul copy. A really bad Les Paul copy. And not knowing anything about guitars and how to set them up, I plunked around on it for a good 6 months, but never got anywhere with it.
Right.
And so you kind of forgot about for a while. And then when I decided later on in life that I wanted to go ahead and start guitar, and things conspired. I was in the Army. One year I ordered an acoustic guitar from Sears, and it showed up, and the back was off it when it showed up.
Oh no.
It's like, we're not doing this again. But something happened in me. I hit 50. And when I hit 50, there were a lot of things going on in my life. And I said, look, I don't want to have regrets. What is one of the things I really always wanted to do? and that was I wanted to learn to play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went around and I found Phil McKnight, and Phil led me to Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben led me to the rest of the community, and all these, this circle you and I kind of run around in, right?
Yeah.
And so, between Phil and what Ben was, between watching Phil and what Ben was doing, I was like, okay, well, I'm one of those guys, I like to tinker. So it wasn't enough for me just to learn guitar. I needed to learn how it worked and how to work on them. And because I love to do that. And so I began tinkering on guitars, and I bought a guitar just to go ahead and do neck stuff on. And when it showed up, I didn't like it, so it just sat in the garage. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I knew I was going to like when I got it. But I won a guitar on a channel, and that guitar was sent to me, and it arrived with the neck broken.
Oh no! You just don't have good luck with guitars being shipped to you.
I won it on Scar My Guitars channel, and the post office broke it, and we went back and forth with them, and they would never pay it because I didn't have a receipt for it, right? Even though it was insured, they would never pay the claim. Mm-hmm. And so I was okay, fine. And so I bought a neck I bought the LP Junior there, the blue one. And that was just a black guitar with all kinds of cracked finish. And I was like, okay, it's an Epiphone. It was an SG that I had. It was a SG special that the neck was broken on. It's like, okay, I'll get that. Then it's an Epiphone neck pocket should line up, right?
Nope.
No, education. No, it did not.
Right.
So now I'm left with this horrible little Junior. And it had, and with a cracked finish and looked like nothing. I was like, and I'm a cheap guy, so I don't spend money and it just sits. Mm-hmm. Something has to happen with it.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was in the channel I was on Ben's channel one day, and he had been talking, he was refinishing a guitar, and he had said something in one of his videos about fabric tops. And, I had no idea what a fabric top guitar was. Mm-hmm. And so I figured, okay, I'm gonna drop something in chat. Say, hey, I got this LP Junior, and it's really kind of messed up, and blah blah blah. I'm just trying to decide whether I should refinish it or fabric top it. And so Ben turns around, he says, well, there aren't enough fabric top guitars in the world.
Right.
I fabric top it. And so I went and learned about fabric topping guitars. I went over to Texas Toast and I watched their videos and watched a bunch of other videos of people doing it. And I was like, okay, I'm dumb enough to try this. And so we went ahead and we did that one. And for some reason, Ben decided he wanted to have me on his channel because I'd been in the chats for so long. And he says, why don't you come on? And we did I came on a group hang, and Unfucking Believable saw that on the group hang. And and it was about the time where he was going to send Ben that Kramer. And pieces. He said, okay, well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send, forget that, I'm going to send you the pieces, but I'm going to send Charles the body, and you can fabric top it. Nice. And that'll, just make this whole thing even more interesting. And so it just kind of took off from there because I had to do, I'd only done the one, and I'm like, I'm freaking out, right? Because that's a huge, everybody watches if I screw this up.
Feet to the fire now, yep.
And so we did the fabric top Strat there, which came out better than I ever thought it would. While we're waiting for the Kramer body to show up, we did that, and then we had a bunch of fun with Ben. And so from there, things just kind of took off and got out of control. So
yeah. Well, you do some nice stuff. All of the guitars that I've seen that you finished up look awesome. So,
very, very kind. I want to mention Chris Man and Wesley. I did mention you earlier. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here, buddy. I really do appreciate you. And I want to welcome in Music Therapy Laz.
What's up, Laz?
Who comes on right after me, and always appreciate that he shows up and is doing some stuff. And so he's going to be coming on after us here at 12 o'clock. So please make sure y'all go over there and check him out when we finish.
Did Laz ever finally get the Fernandez back together? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I don't think so. But it was one of the things one of the projects he did when he took that Mitchell acoustic, the headstock break, and he fixed it. And
Oh, yeah.
he did complete it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Did a pretty good job on it from what I remember.
Yeah, he did a good job. It was a very nice repair. I was impressed.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm trying to make sure we've been talking, so I'm trying to see if we catch
Absolutely.
some folks.
Oh, BC Rich 581 says Ben is giving away UPS uniforms on his chat tonight.
Yes, of course. And so R2R3 is in the chat, and he says, Bruce, you can be your fill-in today. He's got to pick up his daughter at the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, so folks, if you have a question for Ryan, please go ahead and put it in the chat. I know I haven't been watching the chat as closely today, so please forgive me.
Yeah, I found that sometimes doing the show, you get deep into conversation with your guests, and you kind of, you don't want to, but you forget about everybody in the chat. So sometimes it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. I want to welcome in Octopus Ears and Phyllis Norwich Guitar, who have come on in. And if there's anyone else that I've missed, please let me know. So, and so you got the two shows, right? You got the Sunday show, and you got TransTrem Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what were the kind of the thoughts between having the two shows?
Well, I had the guitar, and like I said, I wanted to kind of, put information out there about the TransTrem. There wasn't a lot of it on YouTube. I looked on YouTube for any information that I could see as far as setup for it, because when I got it, I was like, I had a booklet. I was like, man, it sure would be easier to watch a video. And there was really nothing on it. So, I took it upon myself to, I was fortunate enough to find another guitar that had a TransTrem on it. So I brought it home, and I says, well, I'm crazy enough to take this thing apart. Like you were talking about, you're crazy enough to fabric top stuff. So I took it apart. I bought some new bearings and all for it, and kind of, refreshed it and did a video on that. And so the Thursday thing is, Thursday and TransTrem both start with T, so TransTrem Thursday. So we've gotten a lot of interest in it. A lot of people were curious about it. Natalie from Headless USA, started coming on to the show, and we were doing a few things with her. She was sharing information about the Steinbergers. We've had a few guests that have been on for TransTrem Thursday about the older Steinbergers, and how we would like to see them back in production so that anybody could get their hands on a TransTrem equipped guitar. And I think that back in the day, when the Steinberger and the TransTrem was out, there just wasn't a whole lot of people that really knew what it did. So, I just thought, this is pretty cool. It's kind of unique. I don't see anybody else on YouTube doing anything with this. So why not have something unique that, it sounds cool, and, it's kind of a unique piece of gear. So that's kind of where TransTrem Thursday came from.
Well, and I appreciate that too, because I had no idea what a TransTrem was and what it could do and why it mattered. But to me, it just seemed like just another tremolo system, right? And but you've done a great job of educating folks on that on the channel, and knowing it's like, oh, you can really do all that with it, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me grab it real quick.
All right.
Throw that one off.
You have to. So BC Rich said Natalie took on a lot after the recent passing from Headless USA. And Aljon at Epiphone says something is coming, though he doesn't know it will be with the TransTrem.
Aljon's in the chat, hey?
No, this is BC Rich talking about.
Oh, BC Rich. Gotcha. Yeah, I've heard that there might be something in the works, but, I've been hearing that for quite some time. So who knows? Who knows? All right, so this is the Steinberger GL2T, and obviously, I'm an Eddie fan, so I had to get the faceplate. I do have the original faceplate for this, so I can put it back to stock if I want. It's loaded with the pickups and everything in it. I just swap it out, and I can go back to stock with it. But the TransTrem is a unique bridge that will allow the guitar to transpose to different keys. It changes the string pull, or it doesn't change it, but you've got different string pull on each string, so that when you move the bar, each string changes in pitch with each other. So one of the coolest things that you will ever get your hands on and play is one of these.
So let me ask you: how do you know which key you're transposing into when you're using this?
Well, you've got different latches here on this little post, and as far as what key, I haven't memorized it, but there's, you've got 1, 2 up that you can go, and then you can go 3 down. If I set my mind to memorize where they were, I could, but you kind of just have muscle memory of where you're going, or what you need to set it to. For instance, Van Halen's Summer Nights, he starts the song locked all the way up, and that's a what is that? That would be a G on the E string there. You want to hear a little bit?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
All right.
Get your echo cancellation off. There you go. I got it.
One of my favorite things is to dive it all the way down. This would be a, what is that, B? Yeah, that's B. So yeah, just super, super cool that you can change those keys like that. And I always just thought that was just, one of the greatest things ever invented. Still think so. I think that this is just amazing what this thing can do.
So Eddie Fay has a question for you. He says, how many years have you been playing, Ryan? And he says, there's obviously an EVH influence when balancing other obligations, life, kids, work, all that stuff. How much time do you really carve out for guitar and music?
I started playing kind of really seriously wanting to learn when I was maybe 16. And I wasn't able to put a lot of time into it. I wasn't one that sat home on the edge of the bed, for 8 hours and practice. I was kind of I always call myself a, Star Wars reference, a dark side of the Force guitar player. I wanted the quick and easy route. So I would learn little riffs or little methods, of got some background stuff going on there. Little pieces of songs, and I would kind of learn those riffs that way. And throughout my guitar journey, it was just okay, I'm going to join a band and just going to play, and then kind of learn from there. Playing with other people, picking up some riffs that they did. So, really, honestly, I've never really sat down, and if you ask me to play a scale, I'm like, I don't know. I just play what sounds good, as I'm playing. Some chords and whatnot. Just kind of learn that as I went, and kind of progress from there. So as far as music theory, how to read music, and all, I have no clue. But it's as far as practice now, a lot of what I do is, when I get home, spend some time with family, and then come down and I'll practice some kind of riff that I'm working on. But for the most part, all of my practice that I get now is when I'm on the show and playing. Yeah. And it actually turns out that I play guitar more now than I ever have before. I was mentioning to John last night, we were hanging out, John DeShane, that, I've seen that with all of the playing that we've been doing on the channel, I've seen an improvement, myself in my playing. So yeah, that's really the practice schedule now is hit the go button. We're live, and off we go. That's my practice.
I love that. And I absolutely love, between the shows, I really love the Sunday show because it's the four of you guys together,
Mhm.
and you never know what you guys are going to do, right?
Right.
And absolutely just love the way you guys do that. And so I've always been curious, how hard was it for you guys to work out all the technical of that? Because we don't really hear a whole bunch of latency when we watch the show live.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was something that, another thing of my channel was that a lot of people had said, "Man, your sound is just fantastic. How do you get that?" And that was one thing that John did. He was like, "I want to have the sound that you've got." He says, "What do you do?" So, that was a big thing, was getting John set up with the wet, dry, wet kind of input. And, obviously we've all got pretty good connections. And so just working out, I've got a backing track, we'll play it, and it just seemed to kind of all click. There's some that you watch a replay, or I'll watch a replay and I'll see that the backing track is maybe a little ahead of somebody or behind where they're playing. So there's a bit of latency there, but for the most part, everything just kind of fell into place. I've got this Rodecaster Pro 2. I load in, some backing tracks to that. John has one as well. He loads them into his. And it just seems to be that our connection through StreamYard, somehow allows us to not have too much latency. So one of the things that I've really appreciated about doing what I do on the channel is when somebody says, you've inspired me to get my sound better.
Mm-hmm.
Or, R2, he struggled with a little bit with his sound, getting it to where it would line up, and he didn't have latency in this when he was playing. So it kind of inspired him to get a little bit further into his, his setup and get it kind of corrected. Man, I tell you what, Charles Green, when he jumped on and played,
I was going to say that.
Just seeing everybody in the community that's like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to get my sound better. I want to come in and play. Jimmy Biter came in, and he was inspired to. I think he ended up getting a Rodecaster Pro 2 as well, and just seeing the smiles on everybody's faces and coming in and inspiring everybody to pick up the guitar and play. Just play.
And in that show it's just so fun because when any comes on, and you guys have all got your stuff all set up and just right on where it needs to be, and just the great general good natured ribbing you give folks when they're having trouble.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's all in fun. I'm a bit of a smart ass, from time to time, but hopefully everybody realizes that it's just, in fun, and everybody that comes on the show certainly does. Quentin is one that we've been given a little ribbing to, but it turns out that he did actually find a problem with his setup. I think eventually, because we've been ribbing him so much, he found a little setting that actually changed what we hear as opposed to what he was hearing. So, yeah. So Quentin's tone, I'm going to say it right here. It's on record. Quentin's tone is now sounding pretty good.
Okay, Quentin, that'll be $49.50. Ben does agree.
No
Ben agrees. He says you are more than a smart ass than he is.
No more of a smart ass than he is. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
So VC Rich says he's been getting back to playing bass and ready to post up for some videos, and so he's much better on bass. But that's 40 years versus playing guitar. Mm-hmm. And encourage anyone, if you're playing, put it up because you will inspire somebody.
Mm-hmm, for
and
sure.
All these shows for me have inspired me to get a little further in where I'm going and pick up some more, some stuff. And it's just been a tremendous community out there. And Ryan, I really, truly appreciate the things that you do.
Yeah, we've been enjoying it. R2 has a comment there. He says, Charles Green inspires me, and Ryan busts my balls, but they both make me play better. And see, that's what we're all about.
And that's
And R2, I want to tell you, some of your riffs and stuff that you do, it inspires me as well. I'm like, man, I need to go listen to some of that and learn some of that. And I tell you what, Charles Green, when he came on and he rocked it out, I was blown away. And he certainly inspired me to step my game up because dude can play. Dude can play.
it's the big gift of here. We've all heard his stories, and oh my God, when we all heard him play for the first time, it just blew our whole doors off. It's like, who knew? Yeah. Right? You never know, right? Until you hear someone actually do it. And
Charles Green could start his own channel and put me out of business. I'll say that. Excellent player. So inspiring.
Yeah, that's there's some agreement there in the chat as well, right?
Absolutely.
He's a monster. So
absolutely.
That is one of my favorite shows that you guys did when he came on and played with you guys. And then he's sitting there apologizing after every time he plays. Oh, it wasn't as good. I didn't. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. There's times that I'm playing and I really futz up a note or something, and I'm like, man, but nobody notices. Nobody really notices. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And if you listen to professionals, you listen to any kind of live concert, you're going to hear something, that's messed up a little bit. Everybody makes mistakes. Who cares?
Well, and that's part of that whole thing. It's like we talk about what we like about albums that were recorded in the studio, right, before all this over processing of everything, right? That's what makes that music human. It's what gives it some character. It gives it those things that we love about it. All those little mistakes, and you can't be perfect. It's like you have things that are slightly off, and it adds to it. When you just line everything up and you tune it all to and you process it all, it's like it's not like people did it.
One of the best-selling albums of all time, Dark Side of the Moon. If you listen to it closely, I forget which song it is, but you can hear the drummer mess up, a beat. He hits a hi-hat off time, and they happen, but it makes it sound human.
And it gives it that character, and that is Dark Side of the Moon has always kind of been my go-to, right? If I need to get myself right. There's a couple different ways. There's two different ways you play Dark Side of the Moon. If you either play it front to back because you're just enjoying it and you're relaxing and maybe lifestyle choices with it as well.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's I need to get myself right. And my family knows if I come home and I put it on and I start with brain damage, they know. Right. Not now.
No, yeah.
Give this some time. So yeah. What does this say here? Charles, his personality is the best thing in playing guitar. His guitar playing comes through in that personality with his personality. Certainly, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, that was one of my favorites when he came on and played. Charles, you have an open invitation. You can come on today if you like. We would love to have you back playing.
So what are the plans? What is this year on YouTube? What do you think it's going to be for you? What would you like to do?
The year coming up, just continue growing. I mean, it's all about, for us, we always say, Trev, John, myself, R2 on the channel, that it's just all about the smiles and the joy. You watch our show and usually we're going to be smiling, laughing, with the playing. So just progressively continuing to do that and getting more people to come in and seeing that. We would love to have a lot more of the community jump in with us, over the next year. See some new faces, see some new guitars, hear some new riffs. So yeah, just continue growing and continue doing what we're doing. I don't know that there's any plans to progress the amount of shows or anything like that at the moment. You started it out. I was like, man, this is just going to be something fun and, sharing this. And it is, I love doing it, but it's work. It's work too, so it's a balance of finding the time to do it. And so just continuing to do what we're doing. Really is the plan.
And it is great. I'm looking forward to see what comes next from you guys, because it's been, if this is only year one, oh my god, really.
I have been looking at some electronic drums and such, and maybe seeing about getting that set up in here. I would ultimately love to, at some point, find some local guys. Not that I don't love playing with the guys on the show, but just for maybe like a special thing,
Mhm.
actually have a band in here and see if we can get all of the band sound pumped through StreamYard and see how that sounds, and maybe actually play some live stuff. So that would be an ultimate goal on the channel.
Oh yeah.
And I think that would be pretty cool to try to do that. So who knows? Who knows what it's going to bring? We just want to keep having the smiles.
I just love it. And it's funny. I don't know if your experience was like mine, coming into you. I never really expected to have a YouTube channel, right? And you had the account to sit there and go and, uh, be in the chat and talk to everybody else and that kind of thing. And put up my first video just to kind of share. My first video really was to share with Sean how they broke that guitar. And then, so it was like my first video. And then when I did the junior, Ben was like, "Well, make a video of doing that." I was like, "Okay." And it was really, for me, it's always been just about sharing with my friends.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I know I'm a small channel, but I'm very happy with things there because I never expected them to even be what they are now.
You're growing exponentially, Charles. Big things are coming.
Well, I'm going to drop, in case somebody's been under a rock, I'm dropping your YouTube channel again in the chat here.
Thank you.
If you have not been over to OhYouAteOne2, if you have not subbed and you have not clicked the bell for all the notifications, you are making a serious mistake.
Yeah. Well, everybody's welcome. And we love seeing new faces over there. And again, anybody that ever wants to jump in and jam with us on a Sunday, that's what we're all about. So come on over and have some fun with us. We didn't get an opportunity to go through all of the guitarsenal that I've got, so we might have to do a follow up.
We definitely are going to have to do a part 2, a part 3, a part 5.
Right.
There's just no way we can't, right?
Yeah,
do you want to show off another one before we head out, or you want to play us out? What would you like to do?
Oh, it's up to you. What would you like to see? A couple more?
Yeah, can you show us something we haven't seen?
Something you haven't seen.
Because I like being the guy that breaks news and what's hiding in Ryan's arsenal we don't know about.
I can show you a sneak peek of what's coming for the show today. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Nobody's seen this one yet. So let me gently put this thing where it goes.
Thank you, kind sir.
And we'll be right back. All right. This one will be getting its debut on the show today. So, sneak peek here. The new Guitar Day. The Gibson SG.
Oh, this is nice.
2022 SG Standard in Tobacco Burst. So everybody will get to hear how this thing sounds on the show a little later today. 5 Eastern. So that's all you get for now. That's all you get.
It's all just a little tease, huh?
Just a little tease.
Can you let us know, are you in love?
Am I in love?
Are you in love with it?
Oh yeah. I've just picked it up yesterday, and yeah, it's a great guitar. I'm really picky with my guitars.
I noticed that.
I have a hard time ordering anything online. Like I said, it's one of those that I want to go and I want to put my hands on it. I want to put my eyes on it. I want to smell it. I want to taste it. And this is another guitar that I went in, and I'd always been curious about an SG. And I went in, played it, and I never buy a guitar the first day that I see it. I go home, I think about it, and if I have the itch to go and look at it again, I'm usually going to buy it. You know, I pick it up, I play it, it sounds great, it feels great. It's usually coming home with me. So, yeah. So everybody will get a good introduction to this later and get to hear it.
Well, Ryan, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This has been a pleasure, and
Thanks for
there
having
is
me, Charles.
no doubt you have to come back on in the future.
Absolutely.
And we have to have the rest of the crew on as well. I think we'll have to do shows with each of the fellas and
you ever have
learn more about what's
opportunity
going on over there.
If you ever have opportunity to maybe do an extended show, you know, we can go a couple hours, or we would like to open an invitation to you to come on to our show as well, Charles.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. All right. Well, you stay put. I'm gonna get these folks out. Everyone, go on over to Lass's channel, check them out, and we want to thank you all for being here. And have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year, and let's make a new guitar year. Let's set some goals. Let's grow all the playing and maybe some gear as well. Right.
That's always a New Year's thing. More guitars. More
guitars. You got to.
Current number of guitars plus one is always the correct number of guitars.
That is true, especially if they're Telecasters.
There you go.
All right. Have a good one, folks. Thank you very much.
See ya.